Hi everyone, I'm Adam. And in this problem, what we're going to be doing is using our power reducing formulas to write the expression cosine to the fourth of x as first powers of cosine and multiple angles. So let's get started. So the first thing, we want to use our power reducing formulas, and we have a cosine to the fourth of x. And so the power reducing formulas involving cosine that we have are cosine squared of x is equal to one plus cosine of 2x all divided by 2. Now let's see. How does this help us? Well, we have cosine to the fourth of x. Well, we know that we can write that as, say, cosine squared of x, say, squared. And that gives us a place to start. Because if we look over here, we have cosine squared of x is equal to 1 plus cosine 2x divided by 2. So obviously, if we have cosine squared squared, well, that means we have the expression 1 plus cosine 2x over 2 squared. So we'll make that substitution. So coming over here, so we're going to have the quantity 1 plus cosine 2x over 2 squared. Okay. And so we're going to square out top and bottom. And noting a little formula from algebra that we're going to use, we have 1 plus cosine 2x quantity squared. That's the same as a plus b squared, which is equal to a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Okay, so our numerator is going to be, well, a, or 1 squared, which is 1, plus 2ab, or 2 times 1 times cosine 2x, or just 2 cosine 2x, and then cosine 2x squared, or plus cosine 2x squared, and all divided by 2 squared, which is 4. So, as we said, we want to use our power reducing formulas to reduce this to first powers of cosine. So it looks like we have it here, cosine to the first power of 2x, which is also a multiple angle, but we have this cosine squared we're going to have to deal with too. So we'll start our next step, try and simplify this a little bit. First, we note we can bring out this 4 and write this as a 1/4, say, times the quantity 1 plus 2 cosine 2x, and plus, now, what are we going to do with this cosine squared of 2x? Well, if we go back and look at our formula for our power reducing, cosine squared of x is equal to 1 plus cosine of 2x divided by 2. So what that fundamentally says is, whenever we have cosine squared of some angle, over here we're just doubling that angle. So that would give us something like this. If we have cosine squared of 2x, well, that's equal to 1 plus cosine of 2 times that angle, 2x, over 2, or cosine 2 times 2x of 4x. And so that's what we're going to have here. So in place of our cosine squared 2x, we're going to have plus the quantity 1 plus cosine of 4x over 2. And all of this is being multiplied by our 1/4. Okay, so as it sits, we're done. We've got everything in terms of first powers of cosine and multiple angles, cosine of 2x and cosine of 4x. But we're going to clean it up just a little bit. So how can we do that? Well, if we take a look, we have this term on the inside of our parenthesis, 1 plus cosine 4x divided by 2. So we'll get rid of this 2, or namely, first think of this 2 as this quantity being multiplied by a half. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to factor out by this 1/2. So we're going to factor our 1/2 to the outside. giving us 1/2 times 1/4 out here. So we bring out the 1/2. Now what happens to these? So we're going to divide through our 2 by 1/2 and our 1 by 1/2. Okay, and what does that give us? Well, on the outside, 1/2 times 1/4 is 1/8. And working along, 1 divided by 1/2 is 2, plus 2 divided by 1/2 is 4 times cosine 2x, and plus just the quantity 1 plus cosine of 4x. Okay, and we're about there. We can combine some like terms, namely just our constants 2 and 1. So in the end, this will give us the expression 1/8 times 2 plus 1 is 3 plus 4 cosine 2x plus cosine 4x. So, like we said, we've taken our expression cosine to the 4th x and simplified it to an expression where, again, we have first powers of cosine and multiple angles. Thank you very much.